In the world of video games, whether it be action, adventure, fantasy, puzzle, or anything else for that matter, immersion is key. Movement is a characteristic that can be the difference between sitting on a couch with a controller and being transported into another world. Since the beginning of games themselves, this was an understood topic, and over the years, attempts to make a game more immersive have been tested at every turn. From your standard button controls, joysticks, trackballs, and everything else in between, there is one thing that has remained standing throughout every technological innovation and change. Gunpei Yokoi was born in 1941 and spent his early years in Kyoto, Japan. Shortly after obtaining his degree in electronics from Doshisha University, Yokoi went to work for Nintendo in 1965 as a maintenance man for Nintendo's Hanafuda play card assembly line machines. See, at the time, Nintendo was well known for their playing cards and hadn't quite broken into the space that we know them from today. Yokoi wasn't just known for his advanced understanding of electronics, but he was also an aspiring inventor as well. In 1966, the president of Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, came to visit the factory where Gunpei Yokoi had worked. During his visit, he noticed an interesting looking toy in the factory. It was a type of extendable arm. This device would later come to be known as the Ultra Hand. Gunpei Yokoi created the Ultra Hand in his free time in between working on Nintendo's assembly machines. In the midst of the 1970 Christmas season, Nintendo officially released the Ultra Hand, which went on to be a huge hit and sold over 1.2 million units during its launch. This made Yokoi a trusted head at Nintendo of Japan. Yamauchi and other representatives at Nintendo saw Yokoi's brilliance and assigned him to spearhead Nintendo's games division as an engineer. One day while traveling, Gunpei Yokoi saw a man playing with a calculator. This man looked bored as he randomly pressed buttons to help pass the time. This gave Yokoi the idea to invent an LCD game. This idea later grew into Nintendo's Game & Watch handhelds. And why are we discussing Game & Watch? Well, although these handhelds varied in design and button layout, an innovative idea came with 1982's Donkey Kong Game & Watch, the cross-shaped D-pad. This was the birth of the common D-pad we all know and love today. Yokoi later went on to pioneer other systems such as the record-selling Nintendo Game Boy. The very next year, in 1983, Nintendo would continue on their path with the cross-shaped D-pad style and would implement it into their family computer system, also known as the Famicom. The Famicom would make its way to North America in 1985 and Europe in 1986, now calling itself the Nintendo Entertainment System. Other companies in the 80s took note of Yokoi's creation. Atari brought the directional pad to their 7800 console. However, the D-pad style would only be seen in the European and Australian markets. Other regions would get the standard top joystick control pad. Another Japanese company known as Sega released the Sega Master System in 1985, which would include their own rendition of the D-pad. This particular style would be an 8-direction rolling plate D-pad on their controller. Other 1980s consoles such as the TurboGrafx-16 and later the Sega Genesis would follow in Nintendo's footsteps and have their own D-pads as well. Through the years, the old mindset, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, has been the norm for the gaming industry. Almost every single modern console still implements the D-pad. Industry giants Sony and Microsoft have utilized this technology in every single one of their gaming consoles. Hell, even Nintendo has had some iteration of the D-pad on every one of its systems since its creation. Listen, the reality is, Gunpei Yokoi's ideas and inventions are still a beating heart in the chest of video games. He was a visionary and understood the concept of fun and ease of use. Unfortunately, Yokoi passed away in 1997 due to a tragic accident. His contributions to the world of technology will never be forgotten. Games wouldn't be what they are today without him and his brilliance. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it and want to see others just like it, make sure to leave me a like and comment below. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm Dylan from Consoles Only.